Sri Lanka. The university, a beacon of defense-related higher education, was a labor of love for the general, whose life's work was to protect his country and entice thousands of others to do so. In the beginning, the General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, now known as the KDU, was conceived as a tri-service academy and was referred to as the KDA. The academy at the time was tasked with upholding the roles of the three armed forces. Graduates belonging to each military discipline were skilled with the knowledge to effectively coordinate on ground, at sea and in air. With the Sir John Kotelawala Defence Academy Amendment Act, the Academy was empowered with the right to award degrees of its own. With the renaming in 2007 as the General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, the Academy commenced its transformation to be a fully fledged university, becoming the only establishment of its nature to impart defence, diplomacy and security-related education in Sri Lanka. The university, with its world-class standards, systematic innovation in line with global practices, and local and international student body, places emphasis on the unification of fundamental ideas. These pillars have world over been successful in the development of countries, their defense mechanisms, and enhancing the civilian workforce. With the discipline of a military training establishment and the commitment for knowledge dissemination, KDU not only provides a platform for those who want to contribute to national security and development of one's country, but it also imparts high-quality education in an array of disciplines such as engineering, law, medicine, management, social sciences and humanities, allied health sciences, built environment and special sciences, computing and IT, technology, criminology and police science. In its forward march of 4 decades, the KDU has produced alumni who have made brave sacrifices for the security and the territorial integrity of the nation, and earned gallantry awards for serving the country with distinction. Many amongst them have made the supreme sacrifice for the motherland. Since the end of the war, those who pass out from the KDU operate in the tri-services and elsewhere as disciplined and committed leaders who continue to serve the national interests of the country. The KDU is home to multiple faculties and disciplines that empower and provide a range of choice to both tri-service office cadets and day scholars. Day scholars whose focus is not to pursue a military career are also able to learn on campus while truly understanding the dedication of their counterparts, the tri-service office cadets and police officers. This leads to a harmonious environment between civilians and the military, both on and off the campus, due to their shared experiences at the KDU. Addressing national issues with brain drain, the KDU offers Sri Lankan youth an opportunity to take on fields of study that would have previously been sought out in other countries. The benchmarks set within the university continue to be on par with international standards, with foreign students making up a significant part of the student body. This, along with multiple collaborations with global educational bodies, result in a multicultural, global experience on campus, and also ensures a significant contribution to the foreign currency reserves of the country.
As officer cadets, we get an opportunity to interact with their scholars and to create a great bond between them while amplifying our level of motivation and makes learning more enjoyable.
I myself is experiencing a diverse range of extracurricular activities that is offered by the General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, ranging from Rotaract to Toastmasters, Leo to Moti. We have a diverse range of these extracurricular activities, from degree programs that offer certain clubs and societies and also to dance clubs and certain fun-related clubs and societies where both cadets, day scholars, could actively participate with it.
The notable Faculty of Allied Health Sciences, FAHS, was incepted in November 2012. The undergraduate courses it offers in nursing, physiotherapy, pharmacy, medical laboratory sciences, and radiography are chosen by a majority of civil students, including foreigners, military personnel, and lateral entry students from the Ministry of Health. Another milestone achievement for KDU was the completion of the University Hospital. While it is, at the core, a teaching hospital in line with the overall goal of the university, it also provides access to the medical needs of the public. It is a hospital with ultra-modern facilities and cutting-edge technology. Providing around-the-clock emergency and trauma care and specialized treatment of diseases of all the branches of medicine. With the increasing demand for KDU degree programs, a second campus was built in Suryawada to encourage the thousands of students who were in search of an education that harnessed their commitment to their country. KDU accepted the brave challenge of becoming pioneers and establishing not only the Faculty of Computing, but also initiating the Faculty of Built Environment and Spatial Sciences from scratch.
In my view, what makes KDU stand out is the ability to find the right level of balance and the priority that it gives for sports and the balance in terms of extracurricular activities and academics. I myself, being the vice captain of the KDU football team and a state level hockey player, have understood that the opportunities that KDU provides for sports ranging from rugby, rowing to outdoor sports and also indoor sports in terms of squash, badminton and table tennis. The key individualities and characteristics as sportsmen not just help us within the university, but also beyond the life of university.
Today, the university continues to be considered the highest seat of learning for tri-service officers in Sri Lanka. Its significant contribution to tri-service education during the war, and now as the country develops with the rest of the world, is a success story in itself. With its strength being in the alumni who continue to uphold the motto for over 4 decades.
KDU provides officer cadets with the finest essence of military training and discipline, and it also gives us the opportunity to work with our civilian counterparts. This creates a fine balance between the moral and academia, which helps in the grooming of knowledgeable gentlemen officers who will serve for the motherland forever.
The university has long been a reflection of the country and its youth. Growing with the changing priorities of the nation, adapting to a new normal, and expanding to accommodate more successors. The university and all its staff and students are a testament to the will of Sri Lankans who engage in work that adds value to their lives and the world they live in. Discipline, education and honor are the guiding principles at KDU. And as each student passes out of the campus, they carry these strong traits out into the world, making ripples wherever they go.
Morning, absolutely. Really warmly welcome you. Thank you. Please come to the stand. That's for you. Come in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now witnessing the arrival of the Chief Guest, General Kamal Gunaratne, accompanied by the Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University. Chief Guest, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, General Kamal Gunaratne, WWE, RWP, RSP, USP, NDC, PSC, MPhil. Keynote speaker, former Minister of Commerce, Law and Justice of India, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy, Chief of Defence Staff, General Shavendra Silva, WWV, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, MPhil, Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Vikum Lianage, RWP, RSP, NDU, Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Nishanta Ulugetanna, RSP and BA, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, representing the Commander of the Air Force, Chief of Staff, Air Vice Marshal Udeni Rajapaksha, RSP and 2 bars, USP, PSC, Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, Major General Milinda Pires, RWP, RSP, VSV, USP, NDC, PSC, MPhil, Rector, KDU Metropolitan Campus, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Defence and Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Deans of Faculties, Directors, Senior Professors, Distinguished Invitees, the Chair of the International Research Conference of 2022 and his team, local and international scholars, authors of papers, undergraduates and postgraduate students. A very good morning to all of you. The second decade of the 21st century has brought humanity to the threshold of several global destructions, in which the aftershocks of the COVID-19 pandemic and many global crises have climaxed in a real challenge to our future. In the context of these dreadful times, yet with a genesis of a positive outlook, we should vigilantly analyze the strategic role of academia of the country in collectively facilitating the transfer of knowledge, skills, and solutions using science, technology, and innovation in achieving a deeper impact on reviving the pathway of the nation's economy, sustainable growth linked with an environment of justice and an enhanced security for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we warmly welcome you all to the inauguration ceremony of the 15th International Research Conference of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University on the theme Economic Revival, National Security and Sustainability through Advancement of Science, Technology and Innovation. General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, since its beginning, has been rooted in its values and beliefs of our forefather that birthed the organization, transforming it to the times ahead of us. Siya Ratatamai Kavadat, meaning for the motherland forever, is our motto, and now let us pay tribute and respect to our university. Ladies and gentlemen, to commence the proceedings of the day, please rise for the KDU anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. And they who for their country die shall fill an honored grave, for glory lights the soldier's tomb, and beauty weeps the brave. Let us observe a minute of silence in remembrance of the fallen war heroes who sacrificed their lives for the sake of our motherland. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please resume your seats. Lighting a lamp before a ceremony brings divine grace. The lamp, lit with coconut oil, bestows auspiciousness and well-being on the ceremony. It is with this hope and in anticipation that the lamp that will be lit will dispel the deepest darkness.
We respectfully invite the following dignitaries to partake in the lighting of the traditional oil lamp. The Chief Guest, General Kamal Gunaratne, the keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy, the Chief of Defence Staff, General Shavendra Silva, the Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Vikum Liyanage, the Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Nishanta Uluketanna, Representing the command of the Air Force, Chief of Staff, Air Vice Marshal Udeni Rajapaksha, the Vice Chancellor of KDU, Major General Milinda Pires, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Defence and Administration, Brigadier Vipula Chandrasiri, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Sanat Dhammika, Chair of KDU IRC 2022, Kalpa Samarakon, and an officer cadet and day scholar. May the emanating bright rays of the oil lamp bring goodwill and success in the unfolding days. Thank you.
Puja, meaning prayer or an act of worship, is a ritual performed in the form of a traditional dance to offer devotional homage and blessings to gods and deities. This ritualistic dance also seeks for blessings by the gods on the dancer and the audience, one alike. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Army Dance Troupe performing to you the welcome dance as a gesture of honoring the guests and the audience and spiritually celebrating the inauguration ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite, with respect, the Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, Major General Milinda Piris, to welcome the distinguished audience. Over to you, sir.
Chief Guest, Secretary Minister of Defence, General Kamal Gunaratne, retired. Keynote Speaker, Honorable Professor Subramaniam Swamy, Your Excellencies in the Diplomatic Corps, Chief of Defence Staff, General Shavendra Silva, Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Vikum Liyanage, Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Nishanta Ulugetanna, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Vice Marshal Udeni Rajapaksha, eminent plenary speakers representing our friendly nations, Vice Chancellors of other universities, former commandants of KDA and former Chancellors and Vice Chancellors of KDU, rectors of KDU campuses and Deputy Vice Chancellors, Deans of faculties and center directors, senior military officers and police officers, academics, administrative staff, undergraduates, all distinguished guests, including those who connected with us in the cyberspace. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am deeply honored to make the welcome address at this inauguration of the 15th International Research Conference of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University. To begin with, I warmly welcome our chief guest this morning, General Kamal Gunaratne, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, for gracing this important occasion. We owe you a great deal of respect for the wholehearted support extended for the progression of this university at all times as the Secretary of Defence of Ministry of Defence and also as the Chairman of the Board of Management, KDU. Also, may I have the distinct honor of welcoming our keynote speaker, the esteemed and renowned personality, Honorable Professor Subramaniam Swamy from neighboring India. Honorable Sir, we are extremely grateful to you for accepting our invitation and honoring us with the to deliver the keynote address of this two-day International Research Conference. I am sure that your eminent presence adds great value to the event, and we are looking forward to listening to your words of wisdom, which will surely set the most appropriate tone for the scholarly event. I also welcome the Chief of Defence Staff, General Shavendra Silva, Commander of the Army, Commander of the Navy, and other members of the Board of Management. Let me also warmly welcome the members of the Diplomatic Corps representing our friendly nations, Vice Chancellors and senior academics from other universities, former commandants of KDA, former Vice Chancellors and Chancellors and Vice Chancellors of KDU, other officials of the Ministry of Defence, academics, senior military officers, plenary speakers, scholars presenting papers in this two-day conference, and all other distinguished invitees, and students joining this event physically as well as on cyberspace. As the Vice Chancellor of KDU, I admire your valuable presence at this occasion. Reflecting on KDU IRs held last year and the year before, we held them under most trying circumstances of the grave pandemic. They really tested our resilience against the challenges to the very core. Along with the IRCs, we determinedly continued with all academic and other activities of the university with much vigor, and the results are evident in our achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are glad that KDU has firmly established its footprint as a unique higher educational model in the world, which even its critics would not be able to disagree. The best evidence is its steady growth in the popularity as an higher education institute in Asia, as well as the quality of its output, which are evident in the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking 2022 table, where KDU is ranked second in Sri Lanka for quality of education and fourth in overall ranking in the country and in the 108 to 1000 in regional and globally. A more recent indicator of our growth is evident in the world ranking of law schools out of 1,640, where the KDU Faculty of Law took a leap in the world ranking, achieving the 83rd place in the world, 25th place in Asia, and the second place in Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, today we hold the 15th consecutive IRC at a time when we Sri Lankans are in a grave need to pull up our socks as a nation to face the seemingly unsurmountable economic crisis we are experiencing. And we as a university are determined to give our utmost best for the nation at this crucial juncture. We believe that the role of universities and the intellectual community of the nation of paramount importance for the resurrection of our economy, and that of the nation's defense university is even more significant as it deals with the national security perspectives, which is inseparably linked with the economic crisis and with a possible recovery from the same. Serious research in defense and security studies need to go hand in hand with rigorous research in all other fields. This, we believe, is an essential prerequisite for a quick and sustainable recovery from the crisis. So we carefully selected our overarching theme, economic revival, national security, and sustainability through advancement of science, technology, and innovation. For this year's conference, and its scope encompasses a wide range of significant research possibilities to engage in. Our aim in selecting this theme entails a holistic vision of the complexities of economic and national security perspectives, which demand comprehensive inter- and multidisciplinary approaches to resolve contemporary issues. The expectation is to carry forward the research outcomes to the attention of those of the relevant authorities to consider implementation to resolve the related issues. I do not intend to talk any further on this subject, as I'm confident that the Honorable Keynote Speaker would elaborate on the conference theme and its significance. Ladies and gentlemen, having commenced in the year 2008 in a humble way, the KDU IRC gained gradual momentum as a trustworthy forum for the country's scholarly community to showcase their multidisciplinary research outcomes. And what it is noteworthy is ever-growing increase in the number of research papers submitted for the conference, and more so, it is the increasingly high quality of the papers presented at the conference. Therefore, KDU enjoys the humble pride of its leading role in strengthening the research culture in the country that is more and more inclined towards product-based or problem-solving outcomes in relevant fields, which I believe is the need of the hour. Also, the involvement of internationally collaborative research is on the increase. Anyone who visits the KDU IRC proceedings would note the evolutionary path of the progression in research in the country spearheaded by KDU. So we are proud of our role in establishing local and international research and scholarly networks that would further enhance creation of new knowledge in diverse disciplines and dissemination of the same. Ladies and gentlemen, organizers of this year's research conference too have been doing their utmost best to maintain and upgrade the quality of the annual research conference despite challenges, especially in the field of the financial constraints, which compel them to significantly cut down on the peripheral expenses. The circumstances have compelled them to rely on our own resources as much as possible, which I believe is a blessing in disguise in the crisis situation to convert challenges into opportunities. I appreciate the effort and the support extended from all quarters to make the KDU International Research Conference a resounding success in terms of achieving its objectives. So let me conclude by once again welcoming our chief guest, the erudite keynote speaker, and all other distinguished invitees. I convey my congratulations to all researchers who will be presenting their research during the day and tomorrow. I also request those whose papers were not selected through the double-blind reviewing process not to get disheartened because you had competed with many for a placement in the conference. Finally, let me express my heartfelt thanks to Chairman of the conference organizing team, Dr. Kalpa Samarakon, Secretary Dr. Pandula Atauda Arachi, and other members of the team for the tireless hours, days, and weeks you spent to see the success of this important event. Also, I appreciate the effort taken by both DVC's defense and academics also. May the KDU IRC be a heaven for establishing scholarly links at national and international levels, which would pave the way for fruitful research, academic, and even industrial collaborations for the betterment of our nation, its security, and its social, economic, and political stability that would in turn pave the way for the creation of a self-sufficient nation in the not so long future. Let us optimistically believe in ourselves and in our potentials to reach that target sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the pinnacle moment on the agenda, which is the speech by the chief guest. Let me respectfully invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Defense and Administration, Brigadier Vipula Chandrasiri, to introduce the chief guest of the day, General Kamal Gunaratna.
The chief guest, General Kamal Gunaratna, the Secretary, Ministry of Defense, keynote speaker, KDU IRC 2022, Honorable Professor Subramaniam Swamy, Chief of Defense Staff, Commander of the Army, Commander of the Navy, Vice Chancellor of KDU, all respected invitees, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I consider it a privilege for me to introduce the chief guest of the International Research Conference 2022 of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University, General Kamal Gunaratna, the Secretary, Ministry of Defense. The past student of Dharmapal Vidyalaya Pannipitiya and Ananda College, Colombo, young, energetic Kamal Gunaratna joined Sri Lanka Army as an officer cadet in August 1981. After completing the basic military training and commando course, He was commissioned as a second lieutenant to Rajarat Rifles in December 1982 and was one of the pioneer officers of Kajaba Regiment. During General Gunratna's remarkable military career, which spans over 35 years, he has covered full spectrum of different conflicts in Sri Lanka. He actively participated in almost every military operation other than the period away from the country or while on courses. He is an officer who has physically experienced in any occurrence in the battlefield that include bitter reversals to great victories, including holding the key command appointment as the General Officer Commander of 5-3 Division in the final phase of the humanitarian operation. It's a great pride of any officer in uniform to decorate with maximum number of gallantries. In that, General Kamal Gunratna, with his wholehearted commitment and the fullest dedication to the nation, has earned Veera Vikrama Bhushanaya, Rana Vikrama Padakkama, and Ranashura Padakkama for his bravery in the battlefield, and also Uttama Seva Padakkama for his unblemished service in the army, all along with 6 campaign medals and 3 service medals. He has also excelled in academic career as well. He has attended Army Commander's Staff Course number 1, and credit to his exceptional performance during the course, he gained 2nd Staff Course in Pakistan. He obtained Masters in Art and Science of Warfare from the University of Balochistan and MPhil from University of Madras. Also, he has attended many military courses and seminars, mainly in Pakistan, India, Singapore, USA, and Russia. He has held many command, staff, and instructor appointments in the Sri Lanka Army, and had privilege of being a directing staff of the Army Command and Staff College, which is considered as a rare opportunity in any military officer's life. Also, he had held appointment of the Security Forces Commander 1E after the humanitarian appointed as the Deputy Ambassador in Brazil from 2012 to 2015. Soon after his retirement from the Army on 6 September 2016, he published his first publication named Road to Nandikadal and Ranat Magoste, which is about the defeat of the LTT and regarded as one of the best-selling editions in Sri Lanka. Despite his busy life, he published 5 more books, namely Kadolattu, Uttaradevi, Gotabaya, Sinhala and English version, and Pathalo up to now. And many who read his previous publication expect new release in time to come. He is married to Titrangani Gunratna and they are blessed with a daughter. General Kamal Gunratna, having distinguished military career over 35 years and holding many key appointments in wide spectrum of defense, diplomatic, civil, and public sector, assumed duties as the Secretary, Ministry of Defense on 20th November 2019. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let me now kindly invite General Kamal Gunratna, the Chief Guest of the International Research Conference 2022 of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University, to deliver his address. Sir, over to you.
Honorable Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, keynote speaker of the 15th International Research Conference of Kotelawala Defense University 2022, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Chief of Defense Staff, Commander of the Army, Commander of the Navy, Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Vice Chancellors of other universities, Vice Chancellor of KDU, eminent speakers from friendly foreign nations, former commandants of KDA, former chancellors and vice chancellors of KDU, rector, Metropolitan Campus and rector, Southern Campus, deputy vice chancellors, all deans and directors, senior officers of the armed forces and police, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I consider it as a great pleasure and a privilege to be present here today as the chief guest of the inauguration ceremony of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University's International Research Conference, which is taking place for the 15th consecutive time. Without a doubt, it provides an opportunity for academics, professionals, researchers, and practitioners from all around the world to share their research findings and expertise addressing mutual challenges in their fields. Further, it provides an opportunity for a wide interaction and networking with national and international scholars in respective fields, which would be absolutely beneficial for all the participants to broaden their horizons of knowledge through intellectual discussions. Most importantly, despite the global pandemic situation and the recent economic, social, and political setbacks, in effect, it is truly aspiring to see that the KDU is continuing the conduct of this conference with renewed spirit and commitment. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, I would like to encompass my sincere appreciation to the Vice Chancellor and the conference organizers for the invitation extended for me to be the chief guest to one of the most significant academic events of this university. Ladies and gentlemen, in the context of promoting an excellent academic culture, generation of knowledge and subsequent applications of it lead to innovations and novel technologies which are crucial for advancement of human well-being and sustainability. The knowledge is generated by scientific research, and at this backdrop, it is delightful to see that the theme of this year's conference reads Economic Revival, National Security and Sustainability through advancement of science, technology and innovation, which is a well-timed theme reflecting directions that we should pursue as a country irrespective of the boundaries of time and era. Further, at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I will be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge the distinction of a brilliant keynote address to be conducted by the former Minister of Commerce, Law and Justice, Republic of India, Honorable Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. Sir, we as Sri Lankans truly appreciate the acceptance of our invitation extended to attend this in maintaining throughout the past. In continuation of the display of your friendliness towards Sri Lanka, the ideas that would be shared by you in this eminent forum today will indeed bring a sparkling light to the discussions to be conducted during this conference that will become highly fruitful with your intellectual inputs. All the foreign and the local participants, including the senior officers of tri-services and police, would be immensely benefited by the inputs that would be given by you to broaden the horizon of their knowledge. Moving on to the focus of the conference, I must emphasize that with the effects of globalization in effect, given the growing international interdependencies affecting the Sri Lankan national security, as well as recent concerns raised by economic and political implications, there is a recognized need for assessments of the potential risks to national security that may emerge during the strive towards revival of national economy and sustainability. As per my belief, given the importance of certain sectors to the effective functioning of the Sri Lankan society, the said need for a deeper conceptual understanding of the threats that may impact the implied economic revival and sustainability in all aspects, focusing on technological, scientific, and innovative facets would be comprehensively discussed within this earnest gathering of intellectuals during these 2 days. At a strategic standpoint, keeping the past and also most recent lessons learnt in mind. With the newfound leadership of the present government, Sri Lanka should call for a national determination where all sectors of Sri Lankan society, including civil organizations, security institutions, political entities, and business associations, come together to discuss fundamental issues such as national identity, national reconciliation, transitional justice, governance structure, economic revival, and much more. This is a fundamental step towards building consensus and re-legitimizing state institutions and private organizations in the country towards a common goal. Not only would such an effort-based process serve as the foundation for a national pact addressing the country's issues, it would also compel every group within society, especially the investors, to actively participate in the state-building efforts towards the economic revival and sustainability through establishing a secure country, giving due consideration to the scientific and technological innovations. Furthermore, giving high priority to providing solutions to the country's most pressing matters of concern. To improve the world's image on the Sri Lankan society, the Sri Lankan government must take every step necessary to recover high priority initiatives in the fields of the economy, institution building, and political reform. Whilst giving a true meaning to the said initiatives, in order to address emerging challenges, promoting more research and development becomes a task of topmost priority bestowed upon all of us who are present here today. Fortunately, as the Secretary Defense and the Chairman of the KDU Board of Management, I feel tremendously proud and content to state that KDU is at the forefront of researching the development and security-related problems holistically. In this context, one of the unique aspects of KDU IRC, in comparison to a plethora of symposia which we witness in the country and beyond its borders, remains to be its firm commitment to the defense and strategic aspects of the contemporary world, with emphasis on local and regional trends. In that, this conference continues to pioneer in upholding the notion that security is a prerequisite for viability of achievements in all other areas which mankind relies on. In order to facilitate such outcome, it maintains a seamless association of defense and security with other core areas such as sciences, medicine, engineering, built environment, technology, management, and humanities where fundamental knowledge emerges. To be honest, I personally acknowledge this pragmatic philosophy as a remarkable achievement of KDU and thereby of the country as a whole. Resulting interactions and dialogue across apparently distinct disciplines will certainly usher increasing exchanges and collaboration among experts in diverse areas. Therefore, I am well certain that all faculties of Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, with their interest, commitment and knowledge in diverse academic disciplines and outside researchers' inputs, would contribute immensely to this year's research conference's theme. The knowledge that you are giving to unearth and share during this conference would be of immense benefit not only to the academic community but to the entire humankind to make their lives better. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, at the current context, we are on the verge of striving to accomplish serenity and excellence in economic revival, national security and sustainability through unexploited frontiers of technological innovations as a nation. Therefore, conferences of this nature are instrumental in clearing our fog of mind for the betterment of establishing solutions. Therefore, let me express my most sincere appreciation to the Vice Chancellor and the organizers of General Sir John Kotelawala University's 15th International Research Conference 2022 for inviting me for this occasion as the chief guest and giving me an opportunity to speak to you. Let me appreciate all the efforts and congratulate all of you for working your way towards a timely and appropriate theme. Finally, I wish all the participants all the very best in their research endeavors and the KDU Research Conference 2022 to be successful in every way imaginable. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I wish KDU and its entire staff all the very best in all their future professional and academic endeavors. Thank you very much.
Sir, may we ask you to remain on stage, please? Now I humbly call upon the Vice Chancellor of KDU, Major General Milinda Piris, accompanied by Lieutenant Colonel Bharat Jayavira, the Adjutant of KDU, to present the token of appreciation to our esteemed Chief Guest, General Kamal Gunaratna. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, next is the keynote speech by Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy. Let me respectfully call upon Dr. Pandula Ataudarachi, Consultant Interventional Cardiologist, Senior Lecturer and Secretary of IRC 2022, to introduce the profound keynote speaker of today, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy, Sir, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, the distinguished members of the military, the diplomatic corps, and academia of the university, we warmly welcome you to International Research Conference 2022. To many of us, you are not a stranger, but I consider you as honorary Sri Lankan. Let me explain. Professor Subramanian Swamy was born on the 15th of September 1939 in Mylapore in Chennai to a loving mother and an accomplished father who, without doubt, would have a great influence on the mathematical genius of young Professor Swamy. His father was a director of the Central Statistical Institute in Delhi and an advisor to the Government of India. Professor Swamy grew up in Delhi, attended the Hindu College, University of Delhi, from where he attended and achieved a bachelor's degree in mathematics, followed by a master's degree in statistics from the Indian Statistical Institute in Calcutta. Then he attended the Harvard University on a prestigious Rockefeller Scholarship for his PhD in economics in 1965, with his thesis titled Economic Growth and Income Distribution in a Developed Nation under the Nobel laureate Simon Kuznets. He attended MIT as a cross-registered student and later worked at the United Nations Secretariat in New York as an assistant economic affairs officer and subsequently as a resident tutor at Lowell House in Harvard University. He met his future wife, lovely Madam Roxana Kapadia, who herself was a PhD in mathematics, leading to the beginning of a blessed family of equally talented children. Then he joined the Department of Economics at Harvard as an assistant professor, swiftly progressing to become an associate professor. He progressed to become a full professor of mathematical economics at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi in 1969, until 2 decades later becoming a cabinet minister and continued to serving in many capacities in academia and the government. His resilience in life, especially in politics, was promptly noted in the 1970s socialist India, where his ideas were initially considered too liberal, but nonetheless, he was always loved by his people, and he was elected 5 times consecutively as a member of the parliament between 1974 and 1999. And he served as a member of the Planning Commission of India and as the Cabinet Minister of Commerce and Law, and later as the chairman of the Commission on Labour Standards and International Trade. He has held a number of posts of leadership within the Janata Party, the BJP, and he has represented both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Perhaps, to me, what is most striking is the fact that whatever life has brought upon him, he has always won the hearts and minds of Sri Lankans with his steadfast support to our country in its darkest hours of need. And therefore, it is quite befitting that a world expert on economy and geopolitics like yourself, sir, is delivering our keynote speech at the KDU International Research Conference 2022. And I'm sure many of your academics, both live and watching through the streaming media, are keenly listening to you address at the peak of the greatest economic crisis in Sri Lanka. Sir, we respectfully welcome you to deliver the keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction. I have to thank also the Vice Chancellor, Mr. Perez, for having invited me for this conference. Mr. Gunaratna's presence is also, his Secretary of Defense is also heartwarming, because for us Indians, a major terrorist problem which we couldn't do it ourselves. Of course, I have noticed that Sri Lanka has never been defeated in its entire history. It has had setbacks, but it has always won. Even when Lord Rama came here, he had to take the help of Vibhishana, otherwise he could not have defeated Ravan at all. So here also, the Sri Lankans, we Indians owe a debt to Sri Lanka, even in the case of Ramayana. So in this context, I would like to say that 21st century is not going to distinguish between large nations and small nations. It's a new era with new innovations, and you have innovations to be discussed. And therefore, it's extremely important that you give due place, because we economists, at least as a trained economist, I know that all economic development has taken place when the share of innovations in the growth rate of GDP, mathematically calculated, is at least 55%. When America, Europe became developed countries, it was innovations which transformed it. And similarly, when China has benefited greatly from its association with the United States to develop and now stand on its own feet in producing innovations. So innovation in the 21st century is going to be even more important. And I would say that the growth rates of GDP in the economy would be dependent on the extent to which you innovate. And I think knowing the Sri Lankans and their intellectual ability, it's only a question of universities sprouting to develop this concept of innovation. I would like to say a few words in the context of the present conference. First of all, the earliest definition, formal definition of security at the national level, and thus called national security, was articulated in the United States in 1948 as a continued ability of nations of a country to pursue the development of its internal life without serious interference or threat of interference from foreign power. So it was basically to see that you had an orderly society and ensure that no one could defeat you and create a problem, and that was considered as national security. That was the beginning, but it was also for us in the future a very narrow concept. For most of the 20th century, national security was strictly a matter of military power and readiness. But with the dawn of the 21st century, it has become clear, to me at least, that the national security in the context of conventional military warfare has almost become a thing of the past. It's a factor, but it is not the factor. Hence, I would say that during the post-Cold War era, the new security challenges stem not only from the recently actualized one from a state such as Russia in Ukraine, and the non-state actors such as the ISIL, the Islamic terrorist organization, or Al-Qaeda, etc. And of course, you've had in your country also a very, very difficult, determined terrorist organization, which of course we all, as I said, thank the General here, the Secretary of Defense, for having done the final job of eliminating the menace that was for India. So I would say that that in the long-term terms, unsustainable practices, and let me emphasize the word unsustainable practices in the present context of the conference, that would make the state more vulnerable to internal and more resilient to external threats, is something that needs to be studied. Sri Lanka has just undergone a major upheaval, and it was because of the economic factor. And in the economic factor also, it was a very small factor. I am not in a position, I'm not going to defend under any circumstances the removal of people from office who have been elected by the people only recently in the past. That is not something that, if you run a democracy and you are elected by the people and there's no challenge to the legitimacy of that election, then they must serve their term, and they cannot be forced by a mob to quit the post. And I think that is a part of your present national security problem. Never again it must happen, and for that suitable steps for Sri Lanka have to be taken. I would also add that in our policies, there are some aspects which require special attention. First is that the policy must serve in the modern 21st century context several distinct purposes, which we didn't have to in the past century. Of course, if you go farther back, We never wanted these others. We were never in a position or even to consider these things. But amongst the most important is a clear structure. You have to define in this conference, my suggestion, it's an humble suggestion, I'm not demanding that it be done, but I would say a structure of objectives. What are the objectives of nations in this present new scenario? Then of the objectives, which are your priorities, the order of priorities? Then the strategy to achieve them, each of them. In what sequence, in what timing, all these. This will be the third pillar of the policy. And finally, resource mobilization. Resource mobilization is a very crucial factor. It can be mobilized, but one thing is quite clear, never be too dependent on any one country. Try to make it as broad-based as possible. Today, if you look at the debt statistics that have been put out by international organizations, Sri Lanka owes to just one country 52% of its entire debt. I mean, both internal and external combined. And that is an extraordinarily high number. And as a part of national security preparation, you must ensure that the country's debt, especially foreign debt, is never very much and as much as possible spread over a number of countries. So I would say, therefore, that today's government policy makers have to balance the demands of several national securities. Each of them is a national security, but it cannot be complete. That is why sustainability word is coming. We have, in the past, last 30 years of the 20th century, stopped talking about development, but economic development. We have now started talking about, in the last 30 years, sustainable development. And now we are discussing sustainable national security. And amongst those economic security, amongst those demands, various demands of national securities, is in economic security, which I gave an example about the recent events in Sri Lanka. Political security, there should be a stability in government formation and government tenure, and that democracy has, not dictatorships. Suddenly, the most powerful dictator suddenly seems to go missing, that we have seen recently in the newspapers. That is common. In a dictatorship, people either get too much power or they are finally removed. So the most stable system of governance is, after all the world experience we have, is democracy. With all its imperfection, as Churchill once said, there's nothing better than that. So therefore, I would say the elements that constitute today's sustainable national security is, number one, economic security, political security, energy security. It's extremely crucial. Homeland security, of course, you're experts in homeland security, you have done extremely well, but I would still emphasize it's one of the parts of sustainability. Then something that is important, which I said in my last year's speech at the, I think, Defense University, I said it no more matters how big a country you are, geographically. How small, of course, if it becomes too small, there are other constraints that come in, but a reasonably big one, and Sri Lanka is a very big one. Is a big island, it's not just some small island. And this, it doesn't matter if you are United States or the US or the Russians or the Chinese, and to a great extent India. it doesn't, size matters only up to a point. But today, in the new technology, except for these endpoints, size is no more important for national security. What is important is this new technology. And that is why you have in your title science, technology, and innovation. Innovations can do anything for a country of the size of Sri Lanka, with its history, with its intellectual structures, can easily become a country which could dominate the world in terms of influence. And that is in cyber world. Cyber technology is this 21st century's main atomic equivalent of nuclear weapons. And it will be more powerful than nuclear weapons. This confluence is what we call as sustainability through the advancement of science, technology, and innovation. So when you talk, the sustenance is important because it shows that large countries can falter. You know, USSR was a huge country and is now broken into 16 parts. And even the big residual part, Russia, today nobody can say they are going to defeat Ukraine unless you are very pro-Russian, which is very difficult to find nowadays. So on the contrary, therefore, the size is, as I again emphasize, not the important. The pace of change of the past decades in history has been enormous, but now it's going to be accelerate, it's going to gallop, and that is going to come through science and technology. Hence, before this conference of very eminent people, the best in the military are here. You have ambassadors, scholars, we have teachers. So in this kind of intellectual potpourri, if I may call it, I would say that the policy underlining these decisions, these definitions that I spoke about, methodology to validate these new concepts of sustainability, essential to understanding national security concerns of the 21st century. I would say, therefore, in conclusion, that the sustainable national security is the ability of a country to provide comprehensive protection, not at the battlefield, not in terms of fighting terrorists, but it's a comprehensive protection and a holistic defense of the citizenry, while international or global security, on the other hand, besides being national security, demands climate change. Climate change is now an important part of national security. Climate change, other issues of globalization, etc., have to require special attention. A war against terrorism is constantly evolving the concepts of warfare, and that are intermixed with globalization, economic expansion, homeland security, demands of diplomacy. So I would, last line I would say is we have 4 pillars of sustainability which we have to look at, because the key word in this conference, in my opinion, is sustainability. We have brought it in. It's a new concept. I congratulate the university and its vice-chancellor that you chose this topic ahead of most countries. I have not seen a conference in India so far on sustainability. But sustainability is the key word today in the new concept of national security. And so there's a human sustainability, and this human sustainability aims to improve, maintain human capital in society. Human capital is what leads to innovation. So the development of human capital requires a full-fledged department to look at it, and therefore investments in health, education, access to services, knowledge, protection, skills, all are programs under the sustainability that comes out of the human dimension. Then you have the economic sustainability, which there's been a lot of literature on it, so I won't go on it. But just to say that nowadays countries can easily grow at 10% per year, which we thought impossible for most countries in the last century. But we are countries, there are lots of countries nowadays, 6, 7%, even India, China, two big countries, they exceed 6 and 7% even in difficult days. The second is, I said, economic. Third is social sustainability. That's crucial. That's become extremely crucial because of the communication factor. Everybody can communicate through emails and Twitter and so many other social media that today is no more possible to censor that easily information. So social sustainability is the third dimension. The fourth dimension is the environmental sustainability, and therefore all put together, this conference and its volume that comes out after the conference, and the papers have been rewritten, I think will make a huge difference to the intellectual capital of the scholars and ultimately policymakers in the country. Thank you very much for this opportunity to come before you and express my views.
Sir, may we ask you to remain on stage, please? Thank you, Honorable Professor, for those timely words that symbolized a nexus between science, technology, and innovation. Now let me respectfully invite the Vice-Chancellor, Major General Milinda Piris, accompanied by the Adjutant of KDU, to present the token of appreciation to our profound keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to a special moment on the program. It is the launch of the National Digital Repository Center on Defense Studies, the NDR-CDS of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University. This center is an initiative of the KDU Library in collaboration with the Faculty of Defense and Strategic Studies of KDU. As the only defense university in the country, KDU understood the significance of creating an information hub for the defense on an extra mile to address this national requirement. The National Digital Repository Center is a state-of-the-art resource center in defense and security research that aims to collect, organize, archive, and preserve all types of related information sources for different users. This is a precious and timely concept of the Vice-Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University, Major General Milinda Piris. The successful progress of this project is attributed to the financial patronage by Professor Emerita Kusuma Kure in loving memory of her late husband, Mr. Ranjit George Kure. Professor Emerita Kusuma Kure is a Consul Emeritus of Hawaii Consular Corps and former Honorary Consul for Sri Lanka in Hawaii. Professor Kure was awarded the Distinguished Public Service Award, which is the highest award that a civilian could receive from the office of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, now I respectfully invite the Chief Guest, General Kamal Gunaratne, accompanied by the Vice-Chancellor, Major General Milinda Piris, and the Librarian of KDU, Dr. Vatmana Senivaratne, to officially launch the National Digital Repository Center on Defense Studies.
I then met another veteran statesman of Ceylon, the former UNP Prime Minister Sir John Kotelawala. He's a gay and flamboyant figure, a rich country squire who owns a graphite mine in Ceylon and a farm in southern England. When I called on him, his garden was full of schoolgirls playing cricket. Some political observers in Ceylon don't take Sir John very seriously anymore, but he still manages to enjoy life. Sir John, you've been described as very pro-British. Is that true?
Well, it is true.
Good. What can Britain do to help Ceylon?
It can always help us in purchasing our produce, bringing industries into this country, and helping us in general to get on in life.
Sir John, what are your political ambitions at the moment?
My political ambitions are to have a quiet time.
You're not...
I've done enough now.
You're not standing for this election?
I hope not to stand unless something arises.
But if Mr. Douglas Senanayake becomes Prime Minister, would you like to be Governor General?
That's his wish, no? Not my wish.
But it would be your wish too.
Well, if I'm called upon to do a job of work, I'll certainly do it for my country.
Now, in that position, what remedies would you propose for Ceylon's troubles?
Well, UNP must come in. At least we must have a set of people who can have a stable government in this country. So I suppose I'll do all I can to help them.
What are the most urgent problems?
The urgent problems is first to bring law and order into this. Get the people to have a desire to work instead of get money for jam.
And what about solving economic problems?
One of the economic problems has to be solved by getting more industries, more people on agriculture, and more people employed in different employments.
What do you think of the present government of Mr. Senanayake?
Is there a government?
Thank you, sir. Introduced in last year, General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University recognizes the academic staff and the students of KDU who have excelled in research by granting annual Research Excellence Awards. The objective of this attempt is to promote and encourage the academia and students to engage in high-quality research, thereby to strengthen the research profile of KDU to improve its visibility in the global arena. Hence, this year as well, for the second time, KDU called for applications from academic staff and students to be considered for Research Excellence Awards 2021 based on the research output in the years 2021, 2020, and 2019. According to the minimum criteria for applying for the award as approved by the KDU Senate and the Board of Management, 11 applications under the student category and 14 applications under the academic staff category were received. These applications were reviewed by an expert panel comprising both internal and external members to select the best 5 students and best 3 academic staff members. After rigorous evaluation of the applications, the following were recommended as the winners for the KDU Research Excellence Award 2021 for their significant contribution to research in the years 2021, 2020, and 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Now to present the awards to the winners, let me respectfully invite on stage the keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy, accompanied by Major General Milinda Pires, the Vice Chancellor of KDU, and Professor Charita Gunasekara, the Dean, Research and Development. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you the winners of the KDU Research Excellence Awards 2021, Student Category. Mr. VSS Nanakara of Intake 35 of the Department of Information Technology, Faculty of Computing. The winners of the staff category, second runner-up, Dr. A.D. De Silva, Senior Lecturer of the Faculty of Medicine. First runner-up, Dr. A.M.N.L. De Silva, Lecturer in Clinical Medicine of the Faculty of Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, the best research is awarded to Captain Engineer S.U. Dampage, the Dean, Faculty of Engineering. Thank you, sir. A mammoth conference like KDU IRC 2022 cannot happen overnight. The wheels keep rolling onward from months before to ensure intricate details and coordination by different individuals and teams working collectively. Furthermore, we are positive that the 15th International Research Conference would not have been a success without the untiring efforts of many such individuals and teams working in unison. Now let me invite the chair of the International Research Conference 2022, Dr. Kalpa Samarakon, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Chief Guest, General Kamal Gunratna, Secretary to the Minister of Defense, the keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Subramanian Swamy, Excellence of Diplomatic Corps, Chief of the Defense Staff, Commander of Sri Lanka Army, the representative for Sri Lanka Air Force, Vice Chancellor of KDU, the Rector KDU Southern Campus, the Rector KDU Metropolitan Campus, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Defense and Administration, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deans of Faculties, Directors, Senior Professors, senior officers, strike forces, and police, distinguished invitees, respective colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Sri Lankans, we have been suffering an economic slowdown in the post-COVID era, in particular with the social and economic crisis, food insecurity, and equitable provisions of health and education due to its over-reliance on traditional exports, tourism, and constant political battles. In this context, KDU has been successful in organizing its 15th consecutive International Research Conference. We strategically analyzed the role of academia of the country to collectively come together and facilitate the transfer of knowledge, skills, and solutions using science, technology, and innovation. The IRC theme 2022 selection has been aimed to provide a multi-professional platform to all the scholars based in Sri Lanka and overseas to bring their innovative research ideas to fulfill the national responsibility thrust upon us, to revive the nation's economy, to achieve the sustainable economic growth coupled with an environment of justice and enhanced security for all. This year's conference attracted more than 690 paper submissions in 11 sessions, the highest ever submissions since the inception of IRC. This indicates the amount of novel knowledge generated in our country. This year is the conference inaugural for technology and criminal justice sessions. With deep appreciation and gratitude, I would like to express my heartiest thanks to General Kamal Gunaratne, the Secretary. Other commitments is truly appreciated and encouraging, and it has certainly added glamour and value to the important event on the KDU calendar. The same goes with Professor Subramaniam Swamy. He is a renowned academic, and he has been a distinguished politician in India and even beyond. Sir, I greatly appreciate your willingness to be our keynote speaker. It is truly an honor, privilege, and inspiration to witness your presence among the KDU community today. I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude and deep appreciation to the Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University, Major General Melinda Peiris. With your leadership, guidance, and timely decisions prevailed throughout the event organization. The event would not be bound to be a success without your active input, particularly under the current difficult context. Thank you indeed, sir. I will be failing in my duties if I did not acknowledge the crucial involvement KDU Deputy Vice Chancellor, Defence and Administration, Brigadier Upali Rajapaksa, Brigadier Vipul Chandrasiri. He has in fact steered KDU IRC organization effort providing correct and pragmatic directions successfully even when the team was at difficult crossroads. I would also thank the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and all the faculty deans, directors who held responsibilities for organizing and conducting forthcoming academic sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, it has been seemingly overwhelming challenge to organize, coordinate, and conduct a research conference of this magnitude at this time. I must appreciate the support of our sponsors, platinum sponsors, together with banking giants, namely Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, and special sponsors, Gamma Interfarm and George Stewart Health. I must appreciate the support extended generously given by the conference secretary, Dr. Pandula Taudarachi, senior lecturer and consultant interventional cardiologist, and the tremendous work done by 3 co-secretaries, Dr. Gihani Jayavira, Lieutenant Colonel Lasita Amarsekara, and Ms. Sandali Gunatilaka, who stood alongside me ever since has been commenced in 2022 with the exceptional commitment. I also thank all the session coordinators who supported tirelessly around the clock from the moment. I'm certainly in debt to them for the success of KDU IRC 2022. I deeply appreciate all the presidents of the committees and committee members, faculty committees Office of Vice Chancellor, Office of Deputy Vice Chancellor, officers of Bursa, officers of the Registrar, Adjutant, and the CU Admin, who held and executed the roles and responsibilities over the IRC. A special thank goes to the media and communication team led by the Director IT and the President of Publications, Printing and Editorial. I take this opportunity to thank all the authors who shared their valuable research works at KDU IRC. I thank also both internal and external reviewers who perused and evaluated the submissions. Please be assured that your expertise shown and valuable time spent critical reviewing is duly appreciated. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months in advance. It requires meticulous planning and execution and an eye for details. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they have shown. So please bear with me if I would not have named all the supporters. I expect that participants of the two-day conference that commences by today will have an occasion that broadens the horizon of all know-how and improve networking in a refreshing environment which all of us at KDU have attempted to facilitate. I wish you all the very best at the conference and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the agenda draws to the end, this marks the conclusion of the inauguration ceremony of the 15th International Research Conference of General Sir John Kotelawala Defence University. Thank you, and we invite all of you to join with the different sessions today and tomorrow to make the intellectual deliberations a resounding success.
Now, the distinguished guests are invited for the group photograph in the auditorium, followed by refreshments. The VIP guests and delegates are cordially invited for refreshments at the ground floor lobby. And academic staff invitees are cordially invited for refreshments at the first floor.